Welcome to the Expansive CEO podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Chapman, founder of Expansive CEO and X Squared Wealth Planning. Buckle in as we explore how to create true prosperity and build a business and a life that expands beyond yourself and makes a dent in the universe. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Expansive CEO podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Chapman, and I'm coming to you solo today. If you listened to Investment Friday last week, I thought I wasn't going to be able to record an episode for the next couple of weeks, but I was inspired to talk about something that's been showing up in client meetings all of this week that I thought would be a helpful podcast to record for this week and to share for this Friday episode. So, what I have been seeing and noticing is really around knowing your numbers. And what I mean by that is not necessarily like knowing every detail about your financial life, but what I have seen over and over again in my practice, in my financial planning practice, and in my coaching with people on business, finance, and strategy, is that when we don't know either how much revenue we're actually bringing in or what our expenses actually are, or, you know, what we actually want to do when money does come in, when money comes into our business or into our life, how we want to spread that out. Those are the three kind of scenarios I've really seen a lot lately. We tend to feel anxiety and stress that doesn't necessarily need to be there. So we're giving ourselves more of a burden of carrying this weight of not knowing, not understanding where we truly are financially, that can be alleviated so easily by, simply looking at all the numbers. So, how do we look at that more clearly? How do we apply this? What does that feel like when you are, in the midst of not looking at your numbers, right? So let's start there. It feels like you don't quite know where the money is going, quite frankly. That's what it feels like. You'll look at your world, you'll look at your bank accounts, you'll look at your investment accounts, and you'll feel like I feel like I'm making money. I feel like I'm bringing it. I know I am, right? I know that I'm making money, and I don't feel stable. I don't feel like I know where my money is going. I can't see it. I can't see the results of the work that I'm doing when it comes to looking at my bank accounts. I don't feel like that's matching the effort that I'm putting in my work, or, the income that's coming in the door, right? Like, where to go? That's a question I get a lot, especially with entrepreneurs and business owners. So again, this is actually can apply to everyone, but especially with business owners. So why do I say especially with business owners? With business owners, it's not just the personal expenses. And so that's why it can be even more of an issue, right? Because we'll have our personal expenses within the home, within our lives, and then we'll have business expenses as well that are a fully separate line item, right? We've got to spend money in our business to make things run and grow and all of that. So especially when I'm talking to entrepreneurs and small business owners, having a very, very clear view of what's happening, where your money is going, what your spending looks like on the personal side for your household and the business side is key. So we'll start there. We'll start with the spending. Um, what do I do when I'm working with clients? So when I have a client come in either into X Squared Wealth Planning, which is my financial planning firm, or into Expansive CEO, into the Expansive CEO program, which is my business finance basics course. One thing that we do in both of those places, whether we're doing financial planning or establishing the finances for your business, we lay the financial foundation by understanding your spending. That's one of the first things that we do. So how? It's super easy. It's not as hard of a process as what we can sometimes make that out to be. I use Excel spreadsheets, right? It's super simple. Um, I actually have a template for what I do with my clients. So we have a personal spending plan sheet and then a business spending plan sheet as well, in Excel. And then we go through and figure out what each of your expenses is, all your main expenses, all your small expenses, all your desired expenses also. How do you want to spend your money? And we fill it out. We fill out the spreadsheet. We look at, if we're talking personal spending, go through your checking account. Most of my clients now use online banking. Most, 99.9% of my clients use online banking for as their main way of keeping track of what money they have. So we look through the checking account and we say, okay, how much is the internet bill each month? How much is your energy bill each month? How much are you spending on gas? How much are you spending on groceries and eating out? And we populate the spreadsheet. What are your insurance payments? How much are you paying for car insurance or health insurance, life insurance? What are the policies that you have, and what are you spending? Um, and then on the business side, we do the exact same thing. What are your expenses? What are your recurring expenses? How much do you pay your employees each month? If you have them, how much do you spend on marketing? How much do you spend on software subscriptions? Right? All that stuff, we put it into these spreadsheets. Um, on the business side, you could also use a P&L statement, a profit and loss statement, to gather your expenses, as long as you have a good clean bookkeeping. um, if you don't have pretty clean bookkeeping, then it's easier to either look at your business checking account, or if you use a business credit card for most of your spending, right, actually go through your account and your card and categorize those expenses to put them onto the spreadsheet. Once we do that, the way that this one is set up, or the way that I've set up um, my tracking, is it'll show you how much you're spending each month. It'll tally everything up and give you that total. And when we look at that, what's so interesting, and I've had this happen many times actually. I've had many clients who think that they're spending more than they are, who, again, that feeling of like, where's the money going? Um, they have this big inflated number in their head of what they think they're spending. And when we do the numbers and we actually look at everything, it is a little bit less on a monthly recurring basis. And so, just as a couple of examples, you have one client who thought she was probably spending, she's like, I don't know, probably $17,000 a month. Um, and when we did all the numbers and ran them pretty closely, it was about 13. It was quite a bit less than what she was thinking, $13,000 a month. In her case, another client who was, closer to $10,000 a month, and her spending, that she was like, "Oh, well, that's all right. I can handle that. Like that actually feels good." Um, and then we add the business expenses on top of that. as well. And so that is where we start to see what's the full picture, what's the full measure of what is coming through you. What when you receive money in to your business, to your bank accounts, however you earn, what's then flowing through you? And how do we get a really good, accurate picture of that? And I'm telling you, just knowing what that looks like can be so freeing, can feel so supportive from that, that standpoint of, okay, I know what I'm spending on a basic month. There could be some of you listening who are really good at this, and you might be like, oh my gosh, how could someone not know what they're spending every month? That seems crazy to me. And for you, that's great. That's awesome. Like, congratulations. If you are very aware of what's, again, what's moving through your household right now, I'll give you a big pat on the back. And just know that that's not everyone, that a lot of people are basically afraid to look at it because they think lots of things. They think it's not, again, they think it's going to be more than what they can handle, or they'll see that amount and, feel, severe anxiety about it. And the truth is almost always more gentle than that is what I have personally experienced, working with lots and lots of clients, um, over the years on this specifically. So, if that's you, if you feel like, I'm afraid to even know what that looks like, or, I feel like I have an idea, but then I also feel kind of like anxious when I get my paychecks in, however they flow. I feel anxious, if I'm going to have enough. This is a really powerful exercise to do. So I do have an offer for you. I don't normally share these Excel spreadsheets. It's just not like I don't share it like a freebie. But if anyone is listening to this podcast and they want to receive my spreadsheets that I use with my clients, send me a note. Email me at Hannah, HANNAH, at expansiveceo.com. And just let me know that you would love to receive those spreadsheets, and I will send them over to you. Um, I won't walk you through them the way that I do with my clients, but I'm more than happy to share that resource so that you can have it and play with it and just, use it yourself. So spending, right? That's the first big one. And the last thing I'll say about spending plans is that it's not about idealizing. It's not about, what do I wish I was spending on, let's say, groceries or clothing each month. Let's say that you do tend to like food is an important part. Maybe, like my family, for example, we have 5 people, 2 adults and 3 kids, also 2 dogs. And so our food bills for the month are pretty high. And we are okay with spending money on high quality food, right? That we want to eat. That's a bigger part of my budget than it is for maybe some other families who are a family of 5. And I'm okay with that, right? That works for me, that works for our family. For other people, they might want to reduce their expenses on food so that they can spend more on sports for their kids or travel sports, whatever is important to your family. That's, we are actually looking to um, see what you're spending now, not, oh, you know what? I feel like I should only be spending, $1,000 a month on food. And so I'm going to say that that's what I spend, but really your family spends 1,500 or $2,000 a month on food when you actually look into it. This is not a place for you to say, like, again, to not be truly honest with yourself with what's actually coming through your spending. This is a way for you to really take stock and say, "Oh, this is really actually truly how much we're spending." Or it could be how much you're spending at Target each month, or how much you're spending on Amazon each month, right? Or how much you're spending on subscriptions each month. You don't need to sugarcoat it. There's no need for that. It's truly just an exercise of awareness of what is actually happening. And that is the beautiful, beautiful part of this. Again, um, you might be surprised on the other side. There's no saying that you don't do this exercise and go, "Ooh, I thought we were spending $6,000 a month and really it's 8," right? Like that can happen too. Um, but the awareness, right? Being aware of that is the first step to actually being acknowledging where you are, accepting where you are, and then making new choices if you decide to. So again, if you want the spending plan sheets, the Excel spreadsheets that I use, send me an email. I will send those right over to you. Happy to share those. The second place that I wanted to talk about today was revenue and what's actually coming into your household. Um, I, was working with a client earlier this week and she keeps great records and we've been working together for, a good couple of years. So I know that she keeps good records of where things are at, but she had kept everything separate, like all the different contracts that she's working on and that are booked for the year and all of that. She had kept them all in their own little buckets in their own categories and hadn't actually tallied up what the total, like what her revenue is going to be for this year just based on contracts that are already closed, not on anything new that comes through. Like this is, you know, a pretty solid slam dunk of what your revenue will be this year based on current contracts. After going through that exercise, right? And going through all of them, adding everything up and just simply seeing where she is at as a baseline for 2024, there was a feeling of happiness first, excitement, like congratulating yourself, right? That, hey, oh, I didn't realize it was going to, exceed this amount for this year already, just based on what's already been booked, and a sense of relief, like truly, truly a sense of relief around, oh, okay, I've already done the work to secure this amount for my business, and anything else that I bring in for this year is, well, for in her case, like is additional, is extra, is, beautiful opportunity, right? The doors are open for more clients to come in who are super aligned and who really fit for, the work that she does. And she also knows that she can rest. She can rest easy in the fact that she has this revenue secured for the year. I don't share that story to say that that's the case for everyone. Not everyone has the same type of business or structure where contracts work that way. But, for a lot of people, we do have some sort of baseline of what our business will create in a typical month. Many of my clients do have recurring revenue or kind of longer term contracts that they work, and we can be aware, right? We can use that information to actually, future project, project throughout the year. So that's a little bit on the more CFO side, looking at like, okay, what is your revenue projected to be? What's your projected budget for the year, right? So these are internal business finance figures that create healthy awareness around your business finances. But again, you can apply both of these situations. You can apply both of these um, tips to your personal finances as well. If you are an employee with a side hustle, right? Absolutely utilize these tools. Absolutely, take into account all of these aspects for yourself so that you can, have a really good understanding. Here's what I'm putting out every month. Here's my spending plan. And then here's what I'm bringing in every month or over the course of the year, however your business or your job pays you, right? Let's be really super aware and just know what that's going to look like. The third piece that I wanted to talk about today is when you get those deposits in, when you get those windfalls in whatever they look like, whether that's, securing a big contract that has a big, initial payment or lump sum payment, or maybe you're an employee and you get, a bonus or restricted stock units, RSUs that vest, or stock options that, you vest and sell. Whenever you have these windfall amounts, being aware of what your goals are, what do you actually want to accomplish with that money? What's going to truly move things forward for you in a way that feels good and that brings you more financial peace? So, this example, two like really beautiful clients that I love dearly, both of them. We've worked on this in the last couple of months to like, hey, this big amount is going to be coming in. How do I split it up? What do I do with this to, make sure everything that I want to accomplish gets accomplished? Why am I saying this? A lot of times, um, if we have any debt whatsoever, what I've seen people want to do, or like kind of the predisposition sometimes, is I'm going to take this windfall amount and I want to pay off all debt completely as much as possible and then not have anything else left. Right. So use all of it for debt payments. And then like you don't then have your cash reserve, or you weren't able to, um, maybe contribute to your retirement, or you weren't able to contribute to, something else that, maybe matters to you, or take a vacation, like anything that actually, would also be beneficial to your being, your well-being. Um, and so while debt payoff is an important aspect of financial planning and financial health, it's not the one and only thing that we need to look at. It's not the only place that it makes sense to, put a cash infusion in all cases. So this, there are caveats here for sure, but what I'm hoping to impart with this line of thinking is that you can be thoughtful. Even if you have debt, even if you have a business line of credit and a personal line of credit, or, credit card balances, the or student loans, that's another one, right? Like it's not always the best idea to take 100% of any windfall and just wipe out debt. If your windfall, I'll put it this way, if you do get a windfall or a big contract or anything of that sort that would completely wipe out all of your debt, plus, still allow you to, you know, save into your investment accounts that if you want to, or, um, you know, what's another example? Um, Complete a home improvement project that you've been really needing to do, or, replace a vehicle that needs to be replaced. Anything along those lines. It's really important to actually be more thoughtful about these windfalls than to just assume I'm just going to pay off the debt completely and then, we'll go from there. Because sometimes what can happen is if we don't also know what our monthly and annual spending looks like, and we don't know what our monthly and annual revenue or income looks like, if we just take those big contract windfalls and pay down debt, and maybe we actually are a little bit short each month for our spending, and we actually needed to have more of a cash reserve in place in order to make sure the debt doesn't rebuild itself. Right. And so we don't get right back to the place that we started with debt. We want to make sure that, okay, we are actually right sizing our revenue understanding what our revenue looks like, right sizing our spending, understanding what our spending looks like. And then, once we have those things more secure, we can make a lot better choices about what to do when we do have these windfalls or big contracts or bonuses or RSUs come into our world. Um, you can make a lot more thoughtful decisions when you have all the information in place. So, or there at your fingertips to really see what's your spending, what's your revenue, where should this money go? Where's the most thoughtful, optimal place for any bigger windfall to come through? Or even extra revenue as you build your business or get a raise, or when more money comes into your world, what's the thoughtful place for you to put it? So I wanted to share those little tips with you for this weekend. I hope that helps you see either your spending or your revenue or how you allocate your next big contract windfall, RSU bonus, anything that comes through for you in a more thoughtful way where you can feel good about it and not feel that sense of anxiety. So that's it. That's all I've got for you today. I would love to hear if this makes you think of anything, if this resonates with you, if this spurs any other questions that you'd love to hear me answer. I would love to hear from you. Again, you can write to me at Hannah, HANNAH, at expansiveceo.com, or you can DM me on any socials if you follow me on LinkedIn or LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere, YouTube, leave a comment. And if you enjoy this podcast, if you follow along and you love it and you share it, I would really, really love and appreciate if you would like and subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's one of the best ways for other people to discover this information. So thank you so much for being here and following along with me. And we will see you next time. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and be sure to like and subscribe. And again, if anything resonated with you from this episode, I would love to hear from you. Email me at Hannah, HANNAH, at expansiveceo.com and tell me about it. And if you're ready for your greatest expansion, you can find ways to work with me at expansiveceo.com and at x2wealthplanning.com. That's X, the numeral 2, wealthplanning.com. So until next time, remember that there is enough, you are enough, and your birthright in this lifetime is to be expansive.